In 1957, a customer could walk onto an ordinary Cadillac dealership floor and drive away in a car that cost more than the average American home. No import badge, no exotic pedigree, just a Detroit assembly line producing something priced like real estate. That single fact tells you almost everything about the decade we're about to explore. Because in the 1950s, the most expensive American cars weren't always the ones with the biggest engines or the flashiest fins. Sometimes the priciest car in the room was built by a brand nobody expected. An Oldsmobile that cost more than a Cadillac, a hand-built Italian body wrapped around Detroit steel and driven by Frank Sinatra. A convertible so rare most collectors have never laid eyes on one in person. 9 cars. 9 completely different reasons to cost a fortune. Stay with me, because the final entry on this list still sounds made up, even 70 years later. 1953, Buick Skylark. 50 years is worth celebrating, but Buick didn't want to throw a party. It wanted to make a point. 1953 marked the brand's 50th anniversary, and instead of slapping a special badge on an existing model, Buick built something meant to stand entirely on its own. The Skylark used the Roadmaster as its starting point, then dropped the body lower, added chrome wire wheels, and gave it a stance that belonged on a showroom turntable more than a suburban driveway. It didn't read as a fancier Buick. It read as a Buick built for people who wanted to be noticed for restraint, not excess. At roughly $5, the Skylark crept uncomfortably close to Cadillac pricing. An eyebrow-raising number for a brand built on solid, middle-class dependability. Power came from Buick's new 322 cubic inch Nailhead V8, sending out around 188 horsepower with the smooth, unhurried authority the brand was known for. It was never built to be quick. It was built to feel important. Only 1690 were produced that year, an almost absurdly small number for a mainstream manufacturer. Spotting one new on the street was a genuine event. Today, a correctly restored Skylark with the right colors and documentation can clear $150 at auction. Proof that scarcity, more than speed, is what serious collectors chase. 1953, Oldsmobile Fiesta. And if Buick spent 1953 proving a point about its own history, Oldsmobile used that same year to prove something nobody saw coming. Here's a sentence that sounds like a typo. An Oldsmobile that cost more than a Cadillac. It happened, and it wasn't an accident. General Motors built a small trio of specialty convertibles that year to show off what each of its divisions could really do, and Oldsmobile, a brand known for being solid and sensible, never flashy, used the moment to become something else entirely. The Fiesta wasn't built to sell in volume. It came loaded with details you'd never find on a standard Oldsmobile, wrapped in a shape considerably more sophisticated than the badge suggested. At around $700, it actually outpriced several full-size Cadillacs of the same year, a fact that still catches people off guard today. Its 303 cubic inch rocket V8 produced around 170 horsepower. Respectable, not thrilling, because the Fiesta was never chasing speed. It was chasing exclusivity in every stitch and every inch of trim. Only 458 were ever built, every one a convertible, making it one of the rarest Oldsmobiles in the brand's history. Track down a well-preserved example today, and you're looking at $150, $100 or more. 1957 Chrysler 300C. Every car on this list so far has been selling comfort. This one sold adrenaline. While its rivals leaned on chrome trim and plush upholstery to justify their price tags, the Chrysler 300C did something different. It backed its luxury up with genuine headline-grabbing performance. This was a car for someone who wanted to arrive at a five-star hotel with the same authority they'd bring to an open stretch of highway. It wasn't a muscle car by name, but the idea of one was already baked into its bones. Priced around $900, the 300C wasn't the single most expensive car of 1957, but it sat firmly in wealthy buyer territory, and the hardware backed it up. Under the hood sat Chrysler's now legendary 392 cubic-inch Hemi V8, tuned to produce up to 375 horsepower in its hottest form. A genuinely shocking number for the era. This was a full-size luxury car capable of clearing 125 miles per hour, something almost no other large American automobile could touch. Just over 400 were built across coupes and convertibles, and that scarcity turned the 300C into one of Chrysler's most sought-after collector cars today. Pristine, well-documented examples can top $150 without much argument. Timestamp. Quick question for the comments. Would you rather have quiet, Cadillac-style luxury or Hemi-powered luxury with teeth? Let me know below. 1958 Buick Limited. Sometimes a car doesn't become rare because a manufacturer planned it that way. Sometimes it becomes rare because the market changes its mind at the worst possible moment. And that's exactly what happened to the Buick Limited. The Limited sat at the very top of Buick's 1958 lineup, and it looked the part. Long, wide, buried under chrome, built to make an entrance rather than blend into traffic. At a time when a car doubled as a scoreboard for personal success, the Limited was Buick's way of saying its owner had arrived, and arrived comfortably. Depending on body style and options, prices climbed past $5,000, brushing right up against Cadillac territory and putting it well beyond an average family's budget. Power came from a 364 cubic-inch Nailhead V8, producing around 300 horsepower, more than enough to haul the Limited's considerable bulk with total composure. Just over 7 Zerozozoren were built in 1958, a surprisingly low number for a flagship from a major manufacturer, and one that had nothing to do with intentional exclusivity. The Limited simply launched at the wrong moment, right as American tastes began turning away from size and excess. That same excess is exactly why collectors want it today. Clean, well-kept examples typically sell for $60, $1,000 to $100, $1,000, big, brash, and impossible to overlook, even 7 decades later. 1955 Chrysler Imperial. By 1955, Chrysler was done playing second fiddle to Cadillac, so it made the Imperial its own thing entirely. No longer a trim level buried inside the regular Chrysler lineup, but a standalone name built to go toe-to-toe with Cadillac and Lincoln directly. Everything about the Imperial's image was deliberate. It wasn't chasing a youthful or sporty crowd. It was built for boardrooms, diplomatic motorcades, and buyers who wanted authority without needing bright colors to prove it. Standard versions ran around $4,500, while the ultra-exclusive Crown Imperial limousine variant could clear $7,000, numbers that placed the Imperial squarely in, or even above, Cadillac's own price range. Under the hood sat a 331 cubic-inch Hemi V8, making roughly 250 horsepower, tuned for confident, quiet power rather than noise. It wasn't there to impress at a stoplight. It was there to move a very large car with almost no visible effort. Well-preserved Imperials, especially the rare coach-built variants, still command serious money among collectors today. But the real legacy of the 1955 Imperial isn't a dollar figure. It's the message it sent. This was the moment Chrysler looked directly at Cadillac and said out loud that American luxury had more than one address. 1957 Dual Ghia. This car barely feels like it belongs on a list of American automobiles.